Nelson hearing the boos from this crowd. He told us he sees this fight as father versus son. Nelson adding, I love the guy, meaning Jeff Fenech, but this is business. Upwards of 30,000 here, and this is the scene at Prince's Park, live from Melbourne, Australia. We are set for the official introductions and pre-fight festivities. Let's go to our ring announcer, Ray Connolly.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you kindly rise in respect of the national anthems? Firstly, Ghana. To sing Australia's national anthem from Melbourne, Victoria, John St. Peters.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth of toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, dance Australia fair.
Ladies and gentlemen, in collaboration with Don King Productions, Bill Morty's Classic Promotions hosts to his historical Big Blue, scheduled for 12 3-minute rounds for the WBC Super Featherweight Championship of the World. Supervisor from Puerto Rico, Gabriel Pena Garicano. Physicians, Michael Clancy, Lou Lewis. Timekeepers, John Holloway, Graham Olahead. Judges, from London, England, Harry Gibbs, OBE. From the United States of America, New Jersey, Kazmeric. California's Rudy Ortega. His 97th world title, New York's legendary Arthur McEntee. Occupying the blue corner, scaling 129 pounds, wearing black trunks with white markings, hailing from Marrickville, Sydney, Australia. Undefeated in 27 contests, 26 victories, 19 inside the distance, 1 draw. Member of the exclusive 11 to have won world championships in 3 different weight divisions. Consummating prophecy of supernova infinity, challenger Jeff Fenech. His opponent, occupying the red corner, also scaling 129 pounds, wearing white trunks with Technicolor markings, hailing from Accra, Ghana. 36 encounters, have produced 33 victories, 24 by knockout, 2 losses, 1 draw. Twice a world champion, perpetuating majesty at Glory Shrine, defending his diadem, Azumah Nelson.
Azumah, Jeff, this contest for the Super Featherweight Championship of the World will be governed by the rules of the World Boxing Council. You received your instructions earlier. We expect you to obey them, and if you don't, you will be penalized. Shake hands now, and good luck to both of you.
A light but steady rain here in Melbourne, Australia, and it is leaking through the canvas. There are at least 3 areas where the rain is coming through the canopy. And Arthur McEntee, I noticed before, just shaking his head, looking at the rain coming through the top here.
It's formed 3 puddles, but they're in the middle of the ring. As far as Fenech's concerned, he wants to fight along the ropes, so he doesn't really care about the middle of the ring.
Round 1 scheduled for 12. Azumah Nelson doesn't want to go to the ropes again as he did in the first fight, about 6 rounds worth. In that first fight, Fenech pushed me into the ropes, said Azumah. He didn't allow me to move. I sustained his punches, and he also said, I don't mind. And he was really getting nailed repeatedly with Fenech uppercuts. Others just feel that Azumah Nelson just ran out of gas.
Or got worn down by this non-stop punching machine that's Fenech. Right now, Fenech, like he did in the first fight, in the first round, rather tentative. Azumah coming on with superior boxing skill, but it was just the opening minute.
Fenech, being the street fighter he is, uses anything and everything to gain the edge. Tries to get his opponent really rattled, but the experienced Azumah Nelson doesn't easily get duped into that stuff. We will see today. Of course, in that first battle, Fenech threw a volume of punches at Azumah Nelson, but couldn't put him away. So you have to question his punching power, or is Nelson that difficult to put down?
Well, I'll tell you who's got punching power. That's Azumah Nelson. That right hand can make you wave in a breeze, and then come those combinations. Also, keep an eye on the uppercut. The uppercut of Azumah Nelson is a thing of beauty.
Fenech with the pressure. Azumah Nelson, a skillful boxer as well as ferocious puncher, punishing fighter, similar to Julio Cesar Chavez. He likes to accumulate. There's a right, and down goes Fenech.
And that That's a right hand we talked about. That long right. It's the first time, the second time in his career he's been down. He's never been knocked out.
He's been put to the canvas only once, and that was early in his career.
Keep your eyes on that right hand and the uppercut. There's the uppercut.
What a stunning turn of events. Azumah Nelson is trying to finish Fenech off now in the final minute of the first round.
A lot of time, 46 seconds. Azumah not swarming, however. Very, very crafty warrior. He'll take his chances. He'll let Fenech get crazy, and then he'll nail him again. There's that hook again by Azumah Nelson, a very talented boxer.
Nelson predicted he would knock out Fenech inside 7. I didn't think he meant the first.
I don't think he thought he meant the first. It was just a perfect right hand.
Final seconds of round 1. Fenech looking to recharge. And Nelson continues to unload. Big round for the champion, Azumah Nelson.
Just remember, puts us a couple of points behind, but just keep nice and let you go, Cobwebs and all, mate. Promise me? Yep.
Let's take a look at that knockdown. Keep your eye on the right hand of Azumah Nelson. He reaches with it, but it's just a perfectly landed right hand. Whoop, there it goes. And that is a sort of fold down by Azumah. I mean, by Fenech. Again, he's setting him up with the right jab, and comes a... You see, his boxing perfection of Azumah Nelson is the left jab that sets it up. 2 or 3, soft, and then bam, comes the right hand, and down goes Fenech. Big surprise.
Round 2, the crowd getting behind Jeff Fenech. He was put to the canvas for only the second time in his illustrious career in the first round here by Nelson.
Nelson's punches much, much harder than Fenech's to start this round. The mark of a good champion is he doesn't get excited, he doesn't get overpowered. He just knows that he can outbox him, does Azumah Nelson, and he's got that reserve, that calmness, waiting for his superior boxing to give him the advantage, as it did in that first round knockdown, giving him a 10-8 round to begin with.
The 33-year-old Nelson, 33-2-1 with 24 knockouts. His only losses to Salvador Sanchez and Pernell Whitaker. He's looking to prove something here. He felt he won that first fight, June 28th, and he just wants to shut everybody up.
Fenech looking a little wild, as if he just couldn't conceive that would happen to him, and he's trying to reach for his punches rather than boxing intelligently, and you don't see him pulling Azumah Nelson to the ropes in this fight. Again, a different Azumah Nelson, as we said at the top of the show, well-conditioned and determined to come out of here with dignity and with the title.
He said he wasn't in shape for the first fight, on top of the fact that he had malaria. Meanwhile, Jeff Fenech 9 days ago had breathing problems. Here's a wild miss by Azumah Nelson. He had an allergy that manifested itself as asthma, compounded by a chest infection. Says he's okay now. Going to the midsection of Azumah Nelson. That gets a rise from the crowd. But no damage.
And getting too wild.
Heavy right there by Nelson. That was shielded by Fenech. And Fenech missing.
Fenech being controlled by that left jab of Azumah Nelson. Watch that jab. Just keep popping in there, getting him off his timing, not letting him get his attack in place. Fenech not having the success with swarming because of the left jab of Azumah Nelson.
When we asked Fenech about the condition of his hands, he said emphatically, "My hands are fine." There was speculation that he broke a hand after the first fight. Oh, he went down again!
There's that same right hand, the same thing. A jab controlled him and the right hand dropped him. And this crowd doesn't think it's a knockdown, but it was a knockdown.
They thought it was a slip as Arthur McCounty counts Jeff Fenech. That's the second knockdown for Azumah Nelson. Final seconds of round 2.
That was a delayed reaction to the right hand. He does not know what to do with that right hand, and he better get some instruction in the corner.
Jeff Fenech looking startled, perplexed. He was very tense coming to this fight, feeling the weight on his shoulders. An entire country looking in.
You're just walking up and square onto him all the time. And he's trying to get us to the big hook in the right hand. Come on, son. How do you feel, Jeff? Good. I'm fine. Maybe behind the eight ball over. I've just got to keep the jab going and get the points up, mate.
Now, keep your eye on that jab. 2-3, and there goes the right hand. Now 2-3, and the right hand again. Now this one was a punch that crumpled him down, but he did slip on some wet stuff there. That, in all fairness, that was a slip, but followed by a strong right hand, which had crumpled him. That was kind of borderline, but with the net result of this, let's watch that right hand again. Right hand was on the neck, and no, it was on the neck and the top of the head. Not enough to crumple him. That kind of was a slip, but the net result is the same. Azumah Nelson ahead, 20-16 as the third round starts.
It looked like a knockdown from here, even though there are wet spots with rain dripping through the canopy. A hard left by Azumah Nelson. Round 3 scheduled for 12, the WBC Super Featherweight Championship fight.
Azumah Nelson right now teaching the young Jeff Fenech some boxing lessons.
He said, coming in, it would be father versus son. There's a combination by Fenech.
But he's hitting nothing but gloves and the elbows of Azumah Nelson. Look at that uppercut. Savage uppercut by Azumah Nelson.
Nelson measuring Fenech out, and it's Fenech against the ropes.
And here comes Fenech fighting back off the ropes, but notice it's Fenech on the ropes, not Azumah Nelson.
Oh, Fenech got tagged on the chin. Now he turns Nelson around.
This crowd comes to life as Azumah Nelson looked at the referee saying, "You're going to let him get away with that?"
Fenech swarming. Now, this is reminiscent of the first fight.
And again, Azumah, who can get away from there if he wants to, chooses to stay there.
He told us he doesn't mind. He just looked over at us and smiled.
Well, keep in mind the uppercuts in here would do the damage.
Back comes Azumah Nelson fighting from the ropes. And a return barrage from Fenech.
Oh, strong punches back from Azumah Nelson, although Fenech building up points with that non-stop attack of his.
Uppercut by Azumah Nelson. Fenech all over Azumah Nelson. What an exchange. Less than a minute to go. Round 3. Fenech pouring it on. Oh, brother! How does Nelson withstand this? And he's punching back in the process.
Azumah Nelson is setting a trap here. That's what he's doing. He's letting this guy get very brave, and then come those hard uppercuts and winging hooks. Azumah's fresh. He can take it here, and he can gamble. He's got a big lead. He can gamble.
Final seconds, round 3. Roughhouse tactics at the end of the round, and both corners are bristling.
All right. Sounds all right. Bounce, okay? Move a little bit this round. In the middle,
You take a look at something unnatural. Fenech against the ropes, not Azumah Nelson. And then driving Azumah Nelson to the ropes where he chooses to stay. And then, of course, the bell sounded. Fenech has got his blood up, and he just can't stop. He got hit again, and he knees Azumah Nelson. That's a foul and could be punished. That is something Arthur McCanny didn't see, or he would have taken a point away.
Buffalo Martin went wild in the Azumah Nelson corner. Round 4 as things really heat up. Fenech put to the canvas twice. Round 1, round 2, and then coming back in round 3. And there seems to be a little problem with the right eye of Jeff Fenech. He was cut under the left eye in the 3rd round of the first fight, you recall. And it was a great job by cornerman and cutman Johnny Lewis to keep him going. Arthur McCanny, the 3rd man to the ring out of Garden City, New York. 97th World Championship fight. He is used to these circumstances.
It was obvious that McCanny did not see that kneeing. If he had, he'd have taken away the round, the only one that Jeff Fenech has won. Bear in mind, with 10-8 rounds, he was already behind 20-16 when this round started.
Arthur McCanny known for letting fighters fight in the clinches, but he's also a very strict disciplinarian. Now both fighters perhaps feeling the effects of those wild first 3 rounds and just letting up a hair. Heavy punches by Nelson, but not having damage.
It's clear that as long as Fenech stays in the middle of the ring, he's not going to have the better of it. He needs to brawl and maul, and he needs to be in the trenches. He needs to have Azumah Nelson's back to the ropes, and that he won't get unless Azumah chooses to let him do that.
And the rain letting up. Not as much a factor as earlier. Heavy left hand by Fenech. And back comes Nelson with uppercuts. What a weapon. But the ever-charging Jeff Fenech, so fierce, the buzzsaw style, forever forward.
Did not seem to be affected by those 2 first knockdowns. Surprised him, but didn't hurt him. He is fighting with full force here. Is back to the ropes.
A wild miss by Azumah Nelson. 2 animalistic competitors here. Final 30 seconds, round 4.
The eye of Fenech
as we head for the bell. You see them drying off the canvas with the towels. It was raining pretty steadily just moments ago. And as mentioned, it's letting up a bit. But they're doing their level best to keep it as dry as possible.
So far, the only factor that has been is that apparent knockdown where he also slipped into the bargain, giving the crowd a little momentary pause for argument.
The people wearing their slickers here in Melbourne, Australia, we're coming to you live from Prince's Park.
And we keep reiterating the disadvantage that Jeff Fenech had put himself into when he had 2 10-8 rounds in a row, making it 20-16 to start the 3rd round.
It is round 5, scheduled for 12. As mentioned before, Fenech got cut in the first fight, but they healed him up pretty quickly, and it wasn't a factor. We'll see how it goes here. Looks like a mild abrasion.
It's lumping up. His face is lumping up as Fenech, and that's due to the strong jab and then the hooks of Azumah Nelson. This left hand of Azumah Nelson is giving an education to young Jeff Fenech.
Fenech, 27, 6 years younger than the champion. And Nelson with combination uppercut, and that snapped Fenech's head back. And again, it's Fenech near the ropes.
And Fenech chooses to attack again when he's back to the ropes. He explodes when he gets in trouble. And Azumah taking his time, not attacking him on the ropes, letting him just get off the hook. That's a mark of confidence on the part of the champion and experience. Look at that left hand of Azumah Nelson. Pop, pop, pop. Back comes Fenech for more.
Combination by Fenech, who was put to the canvas in the first round and in the second round, much to the surprise and chagrin of this huge crowd in his hometown.
Unlike the first fight, many of Fenech's punches are landing on those high gloves of Azumah Nelson, not coming near landing for points.
Now it's Azumah Nelson sticking the jab, trying to set himself up for the right, but a sweeping left hook by Fenech.
There's no question that this is not Fenech's fight. There's no question he's got to bull him into the ropes. He's got to charge forward. He's not doing that yet. I'm surprised his corner hadn't sent him forth.
Fenech continues to look confused.
He cannot out-jab Azumah Nelson is what's happening. He keeps getting hit with the right hand off that jab.
The crowd reacting, but Azumah Nelson did to that. That one snapped him back. A sharp right hand by Jeff Fenech got the attention of Azumah Nelson.
And that was the first good, strong punch that Fenech has landed cleanly. I mean cleanly. Driving Azumah Nelson back into the ropes, which is exactly where Fenech wants him.
Arthur Mercati steps between. Wild left by Nelson. He wants to end this. A straight right by Nelson.
There goes the mouthpiece of Jeff Fenech.
That could mean fatigue.
You don't got to relax, okay? Anytime you can inside, all right? Jab, only the jab win the fight, okay? Through the jab, and put the good right hand, okay? No rest too much, Azumah. This is serious fight. Give me some muscle.
This is a boxing lesson. Look at that uppercut, then the right hand right over the uppercut that drives Fenech into the corner. This is most of what happened in that round. The superior boxing and evil intention of Azumah Nelson. But then again, Fenech came back and landed a beautiful shot. Let's see it here. There was a beautiful right hand landed right there. And that was about the only thing Master Fenech did to the professor. So he is slipping badly in this fight. And great will be the lamenting of this crowd if this scoring is anywhere near what I have. I have Fenech way behind.
This is a very worried crowd here in Melbourne, Australia. Round 6 for the WBC Super Featherweight Championship. Azumah Nelson in the white trunks. Jeff Fenech, the challenger, in the black.
In the corner, he was told, just as we're observing, keep that left jab going and cross with the right. Buffalo Martin, seeing what I'm seeing, that left jab is controlling Jeff Fenech. And in Fenech's corner, they have to be saying, push this guy, bull this guy, make him go to the corner with you, make him go to the ropes.
A roundhouse right by Jeff Fenech that sailed away.
Sailed away and leaving him open to a counter right.
And now another furious exchange, but no punches being landed. Fenech continues to be frustrated.
Azumah Nelson almost seems too casual. as if he knows he's mastering this young man, and he really doesn't need to do much more. Could be a big mistake, because Fenech will be at him until 12 rounds goes by.
Nelson, the master craftsman. That was a stinging uppercut by Fenech that got in. But it doesn't seem to have much effect on the chin of Azumah Nelson. There's a right hand by Nelson. Nelson told us he's got a face of rock, and I'm beginning to believe him. But now, a hard charging Jeff Fenech, putting Nelson into the ropes just above our broadcast point.
Now McCanny breaking him, meaning that Fenech can't push him into the ropes where he wants him. In Las Vegas, he could push him into the ropes and continue to pull him. Here, they're getting broken up.
Back into Fenech's favorite corner.
This is what Fenech does so well. This is what Fenech must do to win this fight. If he doesn't do this, no chance.
And we end the 6th round with a flurry. Oh, what a left hand by Azumah Nelson, a crackling left. Nelson fighting from the corner. Oh, man.
And he's got Fenech in trouble. Fenech's the attacker, and he's in trouble.
A ferocious right hand by Azumah Nelson, wailing away.
Stop punching. Mate, he's going to come out this round and give it his all. Yeah, mate, we can win the fight this round by you sticking that jab in his face. You all right, to be honest with me? Sissy boy, come on, mate. We're going to turn the fight that round. We let him back into it. For God's sake, don't let him hit you. Keep him in there. You know what you're doing in there. It's our domain. You can breathe each other. Yeah.
Here's a rally in the corner where Azumah Nelson turned it around. The guy that was attacking all of a sudden found a buzzsaw, and he began to get hammered, and then Azumah Nelson turned him around, and it almost looked like the fight was beginning to end. Here's a turnaround, and as it progressed on, it was a belabored and weary Jeff Fenech that went back to his corner. Another big round for Azumah Nelson.
Here in Melbourne, Australia, Azumah Nelson is ready for more here in round 7. He just magnetically sucked Fenech right into the corner and let him have it.
Fenech simply being outclassed. That's the only word you can use when you got a consummate warrior like Azumah Nelson. Look at that series. All out attack by Fenech, nothing landed.
Fenech, who was knocked down in the first and again in the second, came back in the third, but since then, Azumah Nelson, the champion, in command.
Now he's got on the ropes again, and he didn't attack, and Azumah pulls off the ropes. He's got some glove problem here as Azumah Nelson, which is of no importance here because neither fighter is tired. This is no advantage to anybody. It's just an equipment change. Buffalo Martin, the guy that lost the mouthpiece last time, is looking for tape in the corner.
The fans remember that. It was between rounds 9 and 10, though, in that first fight. Nelson's mouth guard mysteriously disappeared. And that gave Azumah Nelson invaluable time to recover.
Well, Fenech's corner, interestingly enough, is getting the feeling that he's losing this fight, and they're telling him the fight is getting away from him. I have to heartily concur, and regardless of the ire of this purely Fenech crowd, you'll have to say Azumah Nelson is winning this bout at this point. Now let's see if his old age becomes a factor or if he can continue this through 12.
And we continue round 7. The rain has stopped.
The educated left jab again. Count those jabs of Azumah Nelson. Not everyone getting in, but while he's punching, Fenech is paralyzed like before a Cobra and keeps getting punched in the face.
No power behind those punches of Jeff Fenech. as Azumah Nelson continues to move forward.
See that? 2 light jabs by Azumah and a hard hook to his ear of Fenech. Everything off that left hand. What an education.
Jeff Fenech, who has never lost. He's 26-0-1 with 19 knockouts. The only blemish, that June 28th draw with Azumah Nelson.
Fenech has to do a lot more of that to sway the judges. He's just not doing any fighting in order to give him these rounds. When he does punch, he's a mile away. He's not effective from outside. Again and again, you come to the same equation. Get away from the middle of the ring and get on the ropes, Jeff, and he's not doing it.
The fans here will cheer almost anything by Jeff Fenech. About 15 seconds left in the round. Good combination by Jeff Fenech. And round 7 in the books.
Tip. Tell this guy give me tape.
Why don't you have tape?
It's unbelievable. This thing happens everywhere. Somebody take my watch. My wallet's here.
Let's go. Put this out right away. Come on. Round both of them. 2 more.
Buffalo said, unbelievable, somebody stole my tape.
He wants a big hook at you, mate.
Last time he lost the mouthpiece, now somebody lost his tape.
Jab, when we get him in close, punch the shit out of him, mate.
Round 8, scheduled for 12. And Jeff Fenech has to do something. Look at these punches by Azumah Nelson.
Fenech has got to fight back, but every time he fights back, he gets stung. I think he's getting gun-shy. He hasn't got that same brio, that same strength, that same joy of fighting that he had in Vegas. And the reason is that Azumah Nelson's making him pay the price when he comes in.
To this point, Fenech overmatched, but he's trying to come back desperately. The crowd trying to urge him on.
Watch closely the hard work of the uppercuts here. Good hook by Azumah. Just an outrageous number of punches by Fenech. Most of them not landing, but some are building up points.
And Fenech just mauling and brawling, trying to stay on top of Azumah Nelson. But it doesn't seem to faze Nelson. It looks like Nelson's trapped in the corner, but he is unleashing punches.
He's setting a trap. He's not trapped. He can move out of there when he wants to.
Absolutely.
Remember, the end of round 6, he almost knocked out Fenech in that same corner. Look at Fenech's right side of the face is completely open. See it? Completely open for a hook.
And perhaps Nelson just waiting for the right moment. The infighting rages on.
And that's exactly what Fenech wanted. That's a hook. Right there it is. Right there it is.
And down goes Fenech for the 3rd time of the fight. He was just waiting for the moment.
That side of the face was so open. So open, Steve. He had to take advantage, and he did. Azumah Nelson to the attack.
Wait a minute, Arthur McKenny steps in and it's all over. It's all over.
It's going to throw in the towel, Steve. They threw in the towel and it was all over. He said it was going to be over in round 7. He missed by 1.
Look out now. Some of the corner people getting into it. Azumah Nelson knocks out Jeff Fenech here in the 8th round, and the Fenech corner threw in the towel. And there they are from Ghana, Africa, celebrating, rejoicing, as Azumah Nelson retains his WBC Super Featherweight Championship. And much in dismay at the other corner is Jeff Fenech. There's the happy Nelson camp, and now back over to Fenech with Johnny Lewis consoling him.
Well, this is one that will not be decided by judges. Fenech took it in his hands to come to Australia, but Azumah Nelson said he'd been weak in the United States. He certainly proved it here. This is the old Azumah Nelson, the warrior from Africa, takes his time, superior boxing, and finished Jeff Fenech.
A master artist, a craftsman, Azumah Nelson, taking Jeff Fenech to task, teaching him a lesson. What a great performance by Azumah Nelson, just carving out this victory against the challenger, Jeff Fenech. As Ferdy Pacheco heads up into the ring, let's check out the final moments in round 8. It was Azumah Nelson who trapped Jeff Fenech and lowering the boom as Fenech hit the deck for the 3rd time in this fight. First round, 2nd round, and now in the 8th round. From another angle. There's that heavy left by Azumah Nelson, followed up by the right. And that is all it took. A stunned Jeff Fenech trying to get up. And then the towel came, and you saw Arthur McKenny starting the count. And then I believe he saw over his shoulder, as Ferdy Pacheco did. I was watching the fight, but Ferdy saw the towel come flying in from the Fenech corner. It'll be coming up in just a couple of seconds. And you can see it from here as Johnny Lewis jumps into the ring, and he said that was it. He didn't want to see his man take any more punishment. So now they meet in the ring. Azumah Nelson, the champion, and Jeff Fenech.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 2 minutes, 20 seconds of the 8th round, the winner by knockout, retaining the WBC Super Featherweight Championship of the world, Azumah Nelson.
Azumah Nelson, winner by TKO, 2:20 of the 8th round. It was his fight just about all the way. He was in control.
Thank you. Congratulations, Jeff.
Calm down, calm down. Calm down.
All right.
We'll be right with you.
I told you
So the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco, is ready, and he is standing by with the champion.
The professor took the student to school.
That's right. I told them I'll teach them. After now I knock him out, like I said before, I'll be the guy, and then after I beat him, I'll show him his mistakes.
Your left jab was a thing of beauty that controlled the fight.
That's right. You know, that's why I call professor. You know, you can't, nobody can name you professor without nothing.
All right.
There's
Now,
no reason why they name me.
does this prove that you were a weak fighter because of the malaria? Wait a minute. Did you feel you were a weak fighter in Las Vegas because you couldn't get off the ropes? Here, you couldn't even catch you on the ropes, and when he did, he got the punishment.
That's right. That's right. Because I told you, I know better than the guy. This fight is like I told you before. This fight is like a father and a son. You know, this fight is like a father and son. And I mean, if your son does something wrong, you know, you got to check him. You know, this is the first fight. Like I told you, this is my operation here. You know, I made this operation January 7th. I was operated in Spain.
Yeah, for his elbow. He had an accumulation of fluid which was drained and aspirated so he could use his left hand. And also he had the malaria, which is now cleared. Now, we have with us the game loser, Jeff Fenech. And we're saying that it's almost a professor teaching a student today because his left jab was so educated in the first round and caught you off guard.
Yeah, I've never underestimated him. He's a great champion, and he proved it tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Would you have done anything different?
You know.
Jeff, could you have driven him to the ropes like you did in Vegas, and why didn't you?
I was happy in the middle of the ring. You know, he proved he's a great fighter. I've never underestimated him. He's a great champion, and he proved it tonight.
Would you like to have another go at him now that you've had a draw and this resounding defeat?
Definitely. You know, hopefully I can do things different.
You've got
again.
a big heart, but that coming back from 2 knockdowns in the first and second round would take an awful lot of doing. You fought your heart out, and what are your plans now? What would you like to do?
I'll just have a rest, and I'll just see how I feel, and I'll just look at it then.
All right. And Azumah, of course, you're going to go on until you're 85, I know.
No, you know, he don't have to stop the fight. You know, if I beat him, he don't have to stop the fight because I'm the best in the division. Understand? And if I move up, he's going to take over, and nobody can beat him in that.
And you think you will move up?
Yeah, I'm looking for how to come Whittaker.
Whittaker again.
Because when I fought Whittaker, the same problem that I have when I fought the champ the first fight. Right, and this time I'm going to prove. I just want Suleiman to give me the chance to prove that I'm the best.
You will go up and fight Purnell. That leaves you wide open to contest for the champion in your division. You satisfied where you're at?
Oh, I'm definitely happy. You know, I can make featherweight, but I'm happy. I was beaten by a great champion tonight. Thank you very much, Azumah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for a very valiant performance.
Thank you.
When we talk about Azumah Nelson, you got to think also a little bit higher up of Julio Cesar Chavez. You think you can put on enough weight? That man is as great a champion as you are.
Two greatest champion made, and it's going to be something else. Until we fight, before we see he's a great champion. He's a rare. I respect that guy so much, so that he's a great champion. And if I'm going to fight Chavez, I'm going to turn my head off.
All right. One last question, because it's been in everybody's head. You just didn't go to the ropes and get pinned. How did you get away from him when you didn't have that problem last time?
You know my problem last time, like I told you.
I know, but this time you didn't go to the ropes. I mean, you just played with him.
I'm playing with him. It's like
All right, we have got to go now back to Steve Albert at ringside because I think we've exhausted the subject. Good luck and congratulations. You are a great champion.
And I like to thank the doctor who made me operation and my friends in Australia, Spain, everything. I say hello. I say hi to my babies.
You fought all over the world. We'll be here all night saying goodbye. Good night. Okay. Back to Steve Albert at ringside.
All right, thanks very much, Ferdy. We're going to take a look at the end of the fight once again. Here in the 8th round, it happened at 2:20. They ruled it a TKO in favor of the champion, Azumah Nelson. It was eventually stopped when Johnny Lewis threw in the towel. There it is, the big right hand by Azumah Nelson, and down went Jeff Fenech. It was Fenech's first defeat ever, as Azumah Nelson retained his WBC Super Featherweight Championship. You noticed Arthur McKenny stepping in. He's ready to continue the fight. All right, they're going to get together again for a few more seconds. Then in came the towel from the corner of the challenger, Jeff Fenech. As Johnny Lewis said, that was enough, as Fenech, as you can see, was just getting pounded by Azumah Nelson. And the astounding thing here is that the judges, Rudy Ortega and Tommy Kazmarek, had this even at 66. Nelson and Fenech, as far as Harry Gibbs saw it, 68-65 in favor of Azumah Nelson. That is really hard to fathom.
How can you get knocked down twice in the first round? That's 10-8 rounds, and then have it even.
All right, so Azumah Nelson proves, Ferdy, he truly is the road warrior. Now 12-0-1 in title defenses covering the super featherweight and featherweight divisions. He held the WBC featherweight crown from 85 to 88, going 6-0 in the process. And he's held the WBC super featherweight title from 88 to the present, going 6-0-1 in title defenses.